Welcome to USFL Today. I'm your host, Angelo Fioris. Make sure you follow the USFL Today Twitter account. That's at USFL Today on Twitter, our YouTube channel at USFL Today on YouTube. That's where you're going to find all of our great shows and all of our content. So set your notifications. We will be rolling out a lot of new shows, not just USFL Today, not just generally speaking, but we've got more in the works as training camp approaches and as we get into the regular season, season 2 of the USFL. I'm very excited for that. I'm also very excited to now bring on the next guest on USFL Today. He's one of the more colorful personalities in the league, one of the more well-known players in the league of the Pittsburgh Maulers, Mr. Boogie Roberts. Boogie, welcome to USFL Today. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Angelo, for having me.
And thank you for coming. Yeah, thanks for coming on. We've been playing a little game of text tag, but we finally put it together, and I'm thrilled to have you on.
Yeah, two busy men trying to fit this meeting in their schedule is tough, but we got it done.
Yeah, we got it done. So welcome to the show. How's your off-season been going so far?
It's been going great. Just doing other stuff outside of football, obviously still training and getting ready for year 2, but also just working on my craft and things, perfecting the nature of stuff after the game of football whenever it's done, which I plan on that being no time soon, but still using the game of football to open up many doors and then using my personality to keep me in those doors. So that's really what I've been working on, just acting and things like that. And then got my master's degree, as everybody saw. So just trying to continue to grow and learn on that aspect of things in terms of getting ready to do broadcasting and stuff like that. Like I'm 26, so I'm 27 now. I had a birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. A couple of days ago. So just trying to learn and whenever the game is done, just being able to transition very smoothly because I've already put in the work.
Before we get into some of those details about what you got planned, I'm glad you brought up the Masters part that we saw on United by Football, because to me, I had one of my more laugh out loud moments in watching the show, and it was very early in the series. It may have been maybe even week 1 or week 2, Boogie, where you were on the Zoom with your advisor and you were explaining what work you had just gotten done. You were explaining what your training camp schedule looked like. And then she just went into it about, I don't know how you're going to get this done. I'm not sure that this schedule is going to work. This is very important. And then you close the computer and you were like, man, I feel like I just got talked down to by my mom or something like that. That's not what your line was, man. But it was one of the more natural, I thought, moments of the series. And it just, what was that feeling right then and there? Tell me about that.
Man, it was a feeling of, you come home and you think you've got a good report card. You think you've done well. I might be coming home with all B's. And in my mind, I'm thinking I'm happy. So I'm thinking I'm progressing. I'm doing good. And then your mom opens a report card and she was like, well, I expect an A here, here, and here. And you don't have that at that time. So then you're just like, dang, it was a bummer, man. But shout out to Professor Todd, Anne-Marie Todd. She's amazing. It was just funny just because I really felt like I thought I was on track, but I have such a long ways to go. And she put that in perspective, like, you're doing okay, but I'm not satisfied. And that just took me back to my mom. Like, when I would think I'm okay, my mom doesn't let me get complacent. She's like, keep going. It's not good enough. And I got that feeling from that natural feeling from her when I shut that computer.
So similarly to your athletic focus, no resting on your laurels. There's no, this performance is good enough. You need to continue to break through and do the best possible, right? I mean, similar kind of thing, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Even after wins, it's never good enough because nobody plays a perfect game. And all the athletes will attest to this. You can have 10 great plays in film, but that one bad play you had, that's the play you're like, please skip this. And that just drives you to know, okay, I have to be better to not even put one bad play on tape. You get what I'm saying? So it's the same kind of thing.
Right. It's like turning in a subpar paper just to turn it in and move on. Yeah. But yet someone's going to notice, even if you think no one's going to notice.
Absolutely. Somebody's always watching. And there's always room for improvement.
So let's now talk a little deeper, man. You have the Masters. Refresh the audience's memory in case they don't remember. What is your Masters in?
It's in sports journalism. I got it from San Jose State University. So that's what it's in. Because the love that I have for the game will never go away. And I felt going down that road would allow me to somehow stay attached to the game and bring my knowledge to the game and just push the game to fans that might not be as interested. A lot of broadcasting is just telling a story to people that's watching it behind the screen. So just being able to tell that story and break it down in normal people terms and have fun and bring my personality to life and things like that. So that's what I want to do. And be in the locker room, still have a reason to be around the guys and be around the game of football is why I felt that degree would help me, and it's for me, and I have a passion about it.
So what kinds of things have you been doing in the off season now to further your network within sports broadcasting or within sports journalism? Anything interesting happening in that area?
I've reached out to my high schools, obviously, just to maybe start doing the next season of calling their games. And a lot of this thing is networking, man. I'm finding out that everything in life is networking. So I'm using my network as well. Like I play in the USFL, who's owned by Fox, who's a major broadcasting company. And they know me and I know them, so I've reached out to those guys, Moose has been a huge help in helping me get these things started. The goal is to maybe shadow him a couple games down the line, just being while he's calling NFL games and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff in the work. Right now I'm just trying to build my network and break out of that mode of just being a football player. Because, that's first. I don't want people to, oh, it's just a football player. No, I'm much more than that. So just reaching out to people and getting that thing rolling. And hopefully after the next year, if I don't go back to the NFL, which is always the main goal, I'll have all these things lined up and ready to go. So as soon as the season's over, after the Maulers win the championship, of course, I can hit the ground rolling.
Nice. That is, I love to hear a man with a plan, truly in place where, you didn't just wait around for season 2. You're preparing for beyond season 5, which is fantastic. That's a lesson for a lot of other, listeners out there that might be young athletes to understand that it's not just the sports part. You have to be well-rounded. Otherwise, you're going to be looking for something to do after sports is over.
Yeah. And networking is huge. You never know who knows somebody who'll pick up the phone for you and vouch for your character and things like that. Literally everything is networking. I'm only in the USFL because of networking. One of my coaches that if I was a hard-headed player or didn't listen or couldn't play, or was a bad guy, I couldn't call him and have him refer me to Kirby to draft me. But I asked him, this guy? No problem. I'll pick up the phone. I'll pick up the phone and call anybody for you. You want people to be able to do that for you in any field and things like that. So that's where I am.
I can totally attest to that, having, been involved in media myself for 20 plus years now. I've gotten many a gig and many a voiceover job or many a on-air experience simply because of the fact that someone else I had worked with in the past was in that position to provide me that opportunity. But like you said, if I wasn't a good coworker, if I wasn't a team guy, those opportunities down the line don't come. They think of someone else when that opportunity comes up. So that's another, relationships is another important thing. You can't just be a player on a team looking out for just yourself, because people are going to remember that later when they're looking out to help their future teams, whatever it is. Yeah, good stuff. So speaking of your team, you mentioned Kirby drafting you. Kirby's not with the team anymore. He's moved on. We've got a new coach, Ray Horton. How do you feel about that? Change of philosophy, different look for the team going into season 2. Not necessarily a bad thing, right?
Absolutely, it's not a bad thing in the sense when you're still keeping all your position coaches. Like I call him now Big Horton, which is the OG. His son, Little Horton, is our DC, and I feel like he's just gonna just kind of put the pieces together a little bit different, but the goal is still the same, which is the championship, and the voice is still the same, hearing from the same DC and OC and the same D-line coach and things like that, and linebacker and special teams coach. So it's a minor difference, but I'm sure it'll be okay in a smooth transition for the players because they're used to hearing those same voices already. It's just a head man in charge, and it's kind of a crazy dynamic with the head coach being a DC's dad, but worked in the NFL with the Shanahans and things like that. And there's a McVay family and the Phillips family and things like that. So I'm sure it'll work. But also, a lot of guys still love Kirby. and are
Right.
indebted and thankful for him because he gave so many people the opportunity, players, coaches, medical staff, just people that might not have got an opportunity to work in a professional football field, or some people might have thought their dreams of playing football were over. Some guys never even got one opportunity and thought it wouldn't even be started. And Kirby gave them that chance. And without him, who knows where any of those guys or coaches will be today. So there's still a level of respect and admiration for him because he's an amazing guy. What people saw, obviously, was the dark cloud, and were able to make a joke about it, which is an unfortunate situation
Right.
because that situation doesn't sum up those two guys at all. So that's kind of where I'm at with it, but I'm excited to get the ball rolling with Big Horton. He comes from an amazing pedigree, and everybody talks about him and loves him.
Yes.
So I'm excited.
So you played for his son, who was the defensive coordinator, Jaron Horton, who's a pretty young guy.
Yeah.
He's probably not that far from your age, truthfully.
No, he's a wizard, man. I joke with him all the time. If we're walking down the street, everybody would think he's just one of the guys.
Yeah.
He got his little glasses on. He's like a tech guy, a little nerdy. But, man, is he a genius when it comes to this football stuff. And when we go out for our dinners, I love doing a D-line dinner every week. He's always invited, because he's one of the guys. He's young.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't cramp our style. He kind of grew up in the same era we did. So
sure,
that's my guy.
Tell me, give us some insight. You refer to him as a wizard. You refer to him as a bit of a G. Give us some insight as to something that would help the layperson, regular people talk, right? Like you said earlier, understand a glimpse of what it is that sets him apart.
Oh man, he's very detailed, and I would say in the real world, you do things faster and better with more confidence when you understand that things are broken down and slowed down to you. So he will constantly break things down to you in a way that you feel 100% confident when you're out there on the field. You're not thinking, you definitely know your assignment, and he doesn't put too much pressure on one person. He breaks up the responsibility. And that's just like in the workforce. You don't want to feel like everything's just on that one person.
Right.
Each person has their one small job. And if everybody does that, we'll win that down. And he's huge and just keeping it simple. Let's win that down. And then we'll get to the next one. So he doesn't overcomplicate things. He's a great teacher. He's a laid back guy. Referring back to the workforce, you don't want a boss that's always on your back, constantly yelling at you, telling you what to do. He's laid back. He sits back and watches and observes and installs confidence in his players that he believes and he knows will get the job done and do what he's asked them to do. And that's why people love playing for him. There's nothing wrong with a rah-rah guy. If you do piss him off,
right,
expect some things to get broken.
Okay.
I've seen that firsthand, a couple clipboards and things like that, but it's rare.
So he's got a little fire. He throws some stuff around.
Yeah, the calmest people are always the most dangerous people in the room. Don't ever get it twisted. So that's definitely him.
That is funny, Boogie. Hey, how'd you get the nickname Boogie?
Oh man, I got it when I was 8, playing Pop Warner football. My coach, he said, when the quarterback came to the line, his eyes got big, like he seen the boogeyman.
Okay.
And that story has it's just stuck with me, and that's my name now.
I love it. I saw that you in high school, obviously you're a football player, but I saw that you lettered in basketball also. You're a pretty big dude. What position you play basketball, and how big were you in high school? Obviously not 6'2", 295, but
probably,
give me a sense of what, senior year Boogie looked like.
Maybe like 6 foot or 6 foot or 6'1", 2. Went to college, probably like 260. 265, but in basketball terms in high school, that was huge because all those guys haven't filled out their NBA frames or college frames yet. And I wasn't the best, but I did it because the cardio was amazing. And there was nothing that got me in better football shape than playing basketball because those guys just run. And I was kind of the enforcer. Coach put me in the game to set a hard screen, and it was crazy. All my football buddies and everybody else in the school would just come to see if I could get 2-3 minutes in the game. They would, you want to win, put Boogie in there. And then when they would sub me in, everybody would go crazy, would go nuts and things like that. I remember one time I banked in a free throw in a playoff game, and the crowd went nuts. and I still remember it to this day.
Was it a close score at that point, or was
Oh
it
yeah,
pretty much
it was a close score. It was put us up by 1 point. It was
get out of
actually
here
yeah, yeah.
late in the
I
game?
promise you, late in the game, yeah,
Lady, and
because
you
our
guys
coach
won?
would put he put me in and another one of my best friends. His name's Uchenna Nwosu. He plays for the Seahawks. You know, he was a football player, but with letter in basketball, we would do the same thing just to play sports.
Right.
He was like, man, we're not boxing out. We're being too soft. He called us the enforcers. He would put the enforcers in, throw a couple elbows, run through some screens. He didn't care if we fouled. Just let us go change the momentum and the tone of the game.
Right.
But I never wanted to shoot the ball because I didn't want to get fouled and have to go to the free throw line. And of course, they fouled me, and I made one of the free throws to go up by one.
Did they foul? Did they foul you in the act of shooting, or was it a bonus situation where, like, let's
No,
send
I
a
was
hack a shack up there kind of thing?
our point guard Rev, he drove the ball, and then they swarmed him and left me under the basket. So a little handoff and me gathering, like, oh my God, I got the ball and trying to go up with it. Of course, I get fouled, missed the layup, and go 1 for 2 at the line. But the one was a bank shot that put us up one. And like I said, everybody went nuts.
How many points you score that season besides that one?
Probably like 12 points total.
All right, not too bad. Not too bad. You got on the board before then, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you do any other sports in school? Like maybe were you like a member of the track team, throwing the putt or shooting the putt or the discus or something?
No, anything with track, I would just practice with them. You know, I did no events, and it wasn't even a consistent thing. Just go to practice sometimes because our football coach, one of the coaches on staff, was the track coach, and then the shot put. I tried it a little bit, but we didn't even have enough people that were interested in that to have a full team. So it was really just football and basketball. That's all I was focused on. I was so locked in on going to college and playing football that everything else didn't matter.
And you played at San Jose State. You redshirted your freshman year. You played all 4 years though, and you had quite an ascension at San Jose State. Your first year, you were mostly special teams, right? Coverage.
Yeah, for redshirt, my first year, there were a bunch of amazing players ahead of me. Shout out to all the OGs, man. Just learning. It was a tough transition. You know, it was amazing. And, you know, you go from high school being a guy, you know, you're that guy and things like that. Then you go to college and then redshirt, and that's a huge adjustment period. You're like, I'm not good enough, not just yet. And how do you tell an 18, 9-year-old that's been starting for 3 years that he's not ready yet? But you go through that, you get bigger, you learn. You continue to build those relationships, trust your coaches, and then that next year, redshirt freshman year, I'm like, okay, it's kind of my time now, and the reality hits, it's still not your time yet. It's still not in the decks for you to be playing how you think you be playing. So at this point, I'm like, I redshirted somewhere. I got to get on the field somehow. So you go to the special teams coach, which is everybody's best friend.
Right.
And I'm like, can you throw me on anything? Anything. He's like, I'll give you a try at punt return hold up. And that was a way for me to travel. So it was good enough for me at the time.
Right.
And then maybe I would get in on defense. So then I did that for a year. And then sophomore year, it was time. You know, it was time to take off and finally put everybody on the map of what I could do. And, man, what a year.
Only defensive player to start all 12 games that year.
Yeah, man. It was amazing.
Tell me what that felt like, right? You went from redshirt to special teams coverage to now starting every game.
Man, it was just a testament to my hard work that I had put in and that feeling of tired of not playing. I didn't come there I knew I could play. And everybody knew I could play. It's just when opportunity and preparation meet, it's a beautiful thing. And that's kind of what happened. I was prepared and the opportunity presented itself, and the rest was history. I took the spot and ran with it and was never giving it up. It was very productive. So there was no way nobody could take me off the field. And
it was pretty much more of the same for you the next year. Again, started 12 games. The year after that, your fifth year, did you miss any games in college once you became a starter?
I had I started 35 out of the 36 games. And my junior year, I had a finger injury when I had to play with like this huge club. And the only game I missed was I had a surgery that Tuesday, and I had got pins put in it, and they were we were going to play BYU, and I still hurt that I didn't get to play that game. It was a decision. Do you want to risk it? Like going out there, and I was like, yeah, I'll play it. But the one was so fresh. We was playing, I think I'm on a Friday, and I just had surgery on a Tuesday, got pins put in Wednesday. So would have been practicing playing the game off 2 days, and they just decided it wasn't in the best interest. But after that, I started all the other games. So I think 35 out of the 36 I started.
And then after college, you went undrafted, but you did latch on with the Rams.
Yeah, my hometown team.
I mean, they must have had their eye on you or something.
Oh, definitely. Being from LA and then getting the call from the Rams, it's so rare, and it was a blessing to represent my hometown team and live out my dream, because that's every kid's dream. That 1% to actually make it, and then going in there playing a position with your favorite player. The guy you look up to and study and watch his film, and just, wow, what an amazing dude. We're still super close to this day. I was his rookie, would have to get his, let me go give me a snack or something like that, but shout out to Aaron Donald, the best defensive player I've seen with my eyes. He's amazing, wonderful guy, super humble, and things like that.
So you still have a good relationship with him, and you guys are in contact and stuff like that?
Yep.
Wow, that's excellent. That's excellent. And so now you're an important part of the Maulers defense. Despite the record and despite the way the season went last year, you guys had a hell of a defense. I mean, I think about 4 of the guys ended up getting the call to go to camp in the NFL, maybe 5, I forget. And, your defense statistically ranked ahead of some of the other teams that were, quote unquote, better teams.
Yeah. And we had so many amazing, talented players on all 3 levels of that defense. But it started with the coaches, and trusting in us and building confidence. Coach Courtwright, our D-line coach, is an amazing guy. Obviously, Coach Horton, who we spoke about, and Coach Hall, who had double duties of special teams and linebackers.
Right.
Imagine that, having to manage both of those, and all 3 of those guys did it. And Coach Nudo, he's with ECU now, our DB's coach, amazing young coach, wonderful staff. And a mix of a staff that has some older guys, some younger guys, and it just blended very well. Then you had Jeremiah Farms, who came out of Friends University, signed with the Patriots, and stick with them all year, signed a features deal. We'll be back with them next year. Olive's great, you had Tez at linebacker. And you had Tarp, and you had Sapp, and you had Keith Gibson back there. And it was just amazing.
Did your kicker get the call too?
Our kicker, Ramiz.
Yeah.
It was just talent everywhere. It was just unfortunate that the record didn't show that, but the talent was there. And if you look at the games, a lot of them were one-score game, one play here or there changed the momentum. We lost to the Stars twice by less than double digits. So it's just 1 or 2 plays can flip a game. And at the end, we didn't make enough plays to win, which falls on us. So we can look at all the numbers we want, but it still reflects on, did you get the job done or not? Even though statistically and player by player wise, we know we can match up with anybody. But that's why this year is the revenge tour, and we coming for everything that's ours.
There you go. And I, before we talk about the revenge tour, I can think of at least, both of the games against the Generals were relatively close, but in one of them, you guys had them on the ropes until the end. Yeah. So I have no doubt in agreeing with you that the Maulers can hang with any team, and just
say the only team that got us. For some reason, I feel like every team has a kryptonite. Was the Michigan Panthers? Yeah, so we definitely owe them. Definitely looking forward to. I can't wait to play them. Shout out to those guys. They have a lot of great players, on that team. A lot of great guys that I know. So shout out to those guys. They handled their business, but we're coming for them for sure. We owe them.
Tell me about that mentality. I mean, bulletin board material, bad. These are all professionals. I don't necessarily know if that's the case, but tell me about the mentality behind Revenge Tour. I mean, it's not like anyone was necessarily out to get you guys last year. It was just competition. So why revenge rather than rebirth or something like that?
No. Revenge, because we feel like we left a lot on the table. And also I feel like, we had that whole, I call it the dark cloud over our heads with the whole incident before the season. So you might not think people were rooting against us, but a lot of people kind of were wanting to see us not do well, just maybe not each player per se, but as a whole organization, because of the incident with the pizza thing.
Yeah.
And people felt like, well, they getting what they deserved. Until this person is released, the curse won't be gone, or blah blah blah, and things like that. And then I feel like in football terms, it's easy to beat on a dying horse, and we were down on our luck, and people took advantage and thought we were just an easy win. So I feel like the revenge tour is that motto. We keep that chip on our shoulder, and we're coming in, we're angry. That's going to help allow us to practice harder and know that last year we didn't do enough. Whenever we thought we were doing enough, do 10 times more, because it didn't get us to where we wanted to be. So we were at home watching the playoffs, and it made me sick, disgusted. So that's really why I came up with this revenge tour, because we're knocking down anything in our way to get to that ultimate goal of a championship. So if you're not on board now, don't get left when this train take off.
Let me ask you, do you think that having that as sort of your driving force for the season, has that altered your off-season workouts in any way, giving you a different kind of edge? What's different about prepping for this year than, say, last year?
A chip on my shoulder. I'm always prepared going into the season because this is my job.
Yeah.
But just a little bit extra motivation. If you usually do 3 sets and now that 4th set, okay, this one's going to be for them who slept on us. You get what I'm saying? So just giving you that extra drive to do a little bit more to push you and your team across that finish line.
I totally get it. Who was your best guy in the locker room at the Maulers?
Man, it would be easy to say Trey Walker because we went to the same high school, same college. But
wait a minute. You're on the Maulers with a guy that you played in high school. Did you play together, or you just went to the same school?
No. We played together. Now we just added another one, Troy Williams, our quarterback. We all went to the same high school. Me and Trey Walker went to the same college, and now we're all professional on the same team. So
wow, that in itself is a show. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I would say, Olive, my fellow D lineman, he was personality. We'll say really our D line group is super close. Olive, Nas, Malcolm, Madre London, Keith Gibson.
He had a good year, Madre London.
Oh man, yeah. Tez is amazing. That's our leader right there in the middle. So all those guys, I'm super close with, and Madre, coming from the Elf League, I think being the MVP or something over there and coming over here,
yes, and
playing amazing, man. I'm super excited to see his growth, because he's an amazing guy on and off the field and an amazing player, as well as Garrett. That's our guy. Amazing leader, coach / running back. So I'm super excited to get back out there with those guys.
Well, I got to tell you, Boogie, it sounds like despite the troubles of last year, you guys are pretty focused. You got a great attitude heading into 2023.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but just be on the lookout for. Like I said, if you're not on this train now, you're gonna get left when it took off and when it passed you. So, Revenge Tour is gonna be in full effect starting April 15th, and I'm super excited and can't wait to get out there with my guys.
I'll make sure I ain't standing on the tracks when that train come by.
Got you, but I ain't hopping off to get you.
Boogie, thanks for coming on the show, man. I hope we continue to stay in contact as camp begins and as we get into the season, okay?
Got you, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you, too. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, Mr. Boogie Roberts of the Pittsburgh Maulers, our guest on USFL Today. That wraps up today's edition. Make sure you follow me. I'm Angelo Fioris. At USFL Today is our Twitter handle. Make sure you look for our shows on YouTube. At USFL Today is our YouTube channel as well. And then you can also follow my Generals account at NJ_Generals for our great Generals show called Generally Speaking. That's it for this week's edition of USFL Today. Make sure you join me again when another top USFL star comes on USFL Today. Thanks for listening.